Good morning, guys. Welcome back to SMB Designs. Today we're going to pick up where we left off in the book of Enoch, beginning in chapter 7. And all of them together went and took wives for themselves, each choosing one for himself, and they began to go in to them and to defile themselves with sex with them. Side note, Genesis 5:32. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him as at his heart. Okay, back into Enoch. And the angels taught them charms and spells, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And the women became pregnant, and they bare large giants, whose height was 3,000 cubits. The giants consumed all the work and toil of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drank the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and taught them about metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of precious stones, and all coloring and dyes. And there was great impiety. They turned away from God and committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Sanjaza taught the casting of spells and root cutting. Armaros taught counterspells, release from spells. Baraquijal taught astrology. Kokabal taught the constellations, portents. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Araquil, the signs of the earth. Shamsil, the signs of the sun. And Seril, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed on the earth, and all lawlessness being done on the earth. And they said to each other, Let the cries from the destruction of earth ascend up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their petition, saying, Bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, The throne of your glory endures through all the generations of the ages, and your name holy and glorious and blessed to all the ages. There is a side note here. It is a reference to 1 Timothy or Titus, I'm not sure which one is the TI, 6:15, which in his time he shall shew, who is the blessed and only potent, the King of kings and Lord of lords, who only hath immortality, dwelling in the light which no man can approach unto, whom no man hath seen, nor can see, to whom be honor and power everlasting. Amen. Back to Enoch, verse 5, chapter 9. You have made all things, and you have power over all things, and all things are revealed and open in your sight, and you see all things, and nothing can hide itself from you. Look at what Azazel has done. Who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were made and kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn? And Simjaza, who taught spells, to whom you gave authority to rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men on the earth, and have had sex with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sin. Side verse, Genesis 6:4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same because mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And the women have bore giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Side verse, Genesis 6:5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Back to Enoch, verse 10. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying out and making their petition to the gates of heaven, and their lament has ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are done on the earth. And you know all things before they come to pass, and you see these things, and you have permitted them, and say nothing to us about these things. What are we to do with them about these things? Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the Great and Holy One, Uriel, go to the son of Lamech. Say to him, go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a flood is about to come on the whole earth, and will destroy everything on it. Side verse, Genesis 7:4. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off of the face of the earth. Back to Enoch. And now instruct him as to what he must do to escape, that his offspring may be preserved for all the generations of the world. Side verse, Genesis 6:13. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without the pitch. Back to Enoch. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and split open the desert, which is in Dudale, and cast him in, and fill the hole by covering him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him live there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see the light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be hurled into the fire. And heal the earth which the angels have ruined, and proclaim the healing of the earth. For I will restore the earth and heal the plague, that not all of the children of men may perish through all the secrets that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. Side verse, Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Back to Enoch. The whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribed all sin. To Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers. Cause them to go against one another, that they may destroy each other in battle. Shorten their days. Side verse, Genesis 6:7. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Back to Enoch. No request that the watchers, their fathers, make of you shall be granted them on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, go, bind Simjaza and his team, who have associated with women and have defiled themselves in all their uncleanness. When their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of the consummation of their judgment, and until the eternal judgment is accomplished. There is an author's note, 70 generations of 500 years equals 3,500 years. Back to Enoch. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. Then Simjaza shall be burnt up with the condemned, and they will be destroyed, having been bound together with them to the end of all generations. Destroy all the spirits of lust and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the earth be planted with righteousness, the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. Side verse, Genesis 6:7. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Back to Enoch. And then shall all the righteous survive, and shall live until they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. Side verse, Genesis 8:22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Genesis 9:1. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. Back to Enoch. And then shall the whole earth be untilled in righteousness, and shall be planted with trees, and be full of blessing. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it. And the vine which they plant shall yield fruit in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown, every measurement of it shall bear 1,000, and each measurement of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. You shall cleanse the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is brought on the earth you shall destroy from off the earth. All the children of men shall become righteous, and all the nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send another flood from this generation to all generations and forever. Chapter 11. And in those days I will open the storehouse of blessings in heaven, and rain down blessings on the earth, and over the work and labor of the children of men. Truth and peace shall be united throughout all the days of the world, and throughout all the generations of men. Chapter 12. Then Enoch disappeared, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode. Side verse, Genesis 5:21. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Back to Enoch. And what had become of him? And his activities were with the holy ones and the watchers. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go tell the watchers of heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken to themselves wives. You have done great destruction on the earth, and you shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin. Since they delight themselves in their children, they shall see the murder of their beloved ones, and the destruction of their children and they shall lament, and shall make supplication forever. You will receive neither mercy or peace. Chapter 13. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, you shall have no peace. A severe sentence has been passed against you, that you should be bound. And you shall not have rest or mercy, toleration nor request granted, because of the unrighteousness which you have taught, and because of all the works of godlessness, and unrighteousness and sin which you have shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they asked me to write a petition for them that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. They had been forbidden to speak with him, nor were they to lift up their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins, because they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their request that they should obtain forgiveness and forbearance. And I went off and sat down at the water of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the southwest of Hermon. I read their petition until I fell asleep. And I had a dream, and I saw a vision of their chastisement. And a voice came to me that I would reprove them. And when I awoke, I came to them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abel's jail, which is between Lebanon and Censer, with their faces covered. And I recounted to them all the visions that I had seen when I was asleep. And I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand heavenly watchers. Chapter 14. This is the book of the words of righteousness, and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One, in that vision I saw in my sleep. What I will now say with the tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to speak with it and to understand with the heart. As he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so has he created me also and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision I appeared that your petition will not be granted to you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed on you. Your petition will not be granted. From here on you shall not ascend into heaven again for all eternity, and you will be bound on earth for all eternity. Before this you will see the destruction of your beloved sons, and you shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Your petition shall not be granted on their behalf or on yours, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in my writings. In the vision I saw clouds that invited me and summoned me into the midst, and the course of the stars and the flashes of lightning, and hurried me and drove me. And the winds in the vision caused me to fly, and lifted me up, and bore me into heaven. And I went in until I drew near to a wall which was built out of crystals, and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to frighten me. I went into the tongues of fire, and drew near a large house which was built of crystals, and the walls of the house were like mosaic of hailstones, and the floor was made of crystals like snow. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and lightning flashes, and between them were fiery cherubim. Their sky was clear as water, a flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its doors blazed with fire. I entered that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no pleasures or life therein, fear covered me, and trembling got a hold of me. As I shook and trembled, I fell on my face. And I saw a vision, and lo, there was a second house, greater than the first. And all the doors stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire, and in every respect it was splendid and magnificent to the extent that I cannot describe it to you. Its floor was of fire, and above it was lightning and the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. And I looked and saw a throne set on high. Its appearance was like crystal, and its wheels were like a shining sun, and there was the vision of cherubim. Side verse, 1 Timothy, I believe, 6:16, who only hath immorality, dwelling in the light which no man can approach unto, whom no man hath seen, nor can see, to whom be honor and power everlasting. Amen. Back to Enoch. And from underneath the throne came rivers of fire, so that I could not look at it. And he who is great in glory sat on the throne, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. Side verse, Matthew 25:31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. Back to Enoch. None of the angels could enter or could behold his face because of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The sea of fire surrounded him, and a great fire stood in front of him, and no one could draw close to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no holy counsel. The most holy ones who were near to him did not leave night or day, and until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, Come here, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me, picked me up, and brought me to the door, and I bowed down my face. We will stop there for this week, and we will pick up in chapter 15 next week. I pray this is blessing you, and if you have any recommendations after the book of Enoch, let me know. I do have several other books that were removed from the original Bible that we can go through as well. I just need to know what you guys prefer. So with that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And I will see you again in the next one. Bye.